31. How to gain whatever you want. An eminent British philosopher gave a lecture in the United States about 50 years ago. The lecturer was J. L. Austin, John Langshaw Austin, a master of the nuance, of grammatical felicity and infelicity in the English language, a philosopher whose writings consisted of finer and finer linguistic distinctions. In his lecture, Austin made the point that an interesting fact about the English language is that a double negation makes a positive. If he did not take the money, then it looks as if he did take the money. Yet a double positive, yes, added to yes, does not make a negative. Immediately from the audience came forth the skeptical mutter, yeah. With the above background, consider the following two puzzles, seemingly of impeccable reasoning. Allow me to orientate one in which you lose, the other in which you win. You could, of course, always be the winning participant, or the loser. Here is a lose everything puzzle. A woman, sitting at a bar, offers you the following deal, wanting to know if you are happy with its conditions. Accept this offer of a holiday in Venice. You can take someone with you, and all you have to do is pay me £10, everything else is free. There are no strings about the holiday, return first-class tickets, first-class hotel and so on. Here is one further condition. If what I say next is true, then I keep the £10 and you have the holiday at no further cost. If what I say next is false, then you must accept the £10 back, but still have the holiday free. How can you lose? There are no snags about the holiday. You would like to go to Venice, see the art, and so forth. Either way, you are surely bound to have the splendid Venetian break. At worst, it costs you a mere £10. And you may even have the £10 returned. Rational man that you are, you eagerly accept. She takes the £10, with a coy smile, and then says, either I shall return the £10 or you will pay me £1 million. Before we examine what has gone wrong, here is a win everything similar puzzle. Find someone, say, Melissa, with some valuable item that you crave. Maybe you want her fine yacht. You ask her, will you give the same answer, yes, or no, to this question as to the next? Melissa hesitates. She has no idea what you are going to ask, so it would be foolish to commit either way. You reassure her, saying that you are happy for her to decide which way to answer after you have asked the second question, but would she merely agree that she will answer truthfully, yes, or no? If she still hesitates, slip her some fivers to agree. After all, it is easy money, she is free to answer either, yes, or no. She agrees. You now ask her, will you give me your yacht? She may immediately answer, no, but can she give that answer truthfully? After all, how is she going to answer that first question now? Logic can indeed puzzle us. How have you lost $1 million, yet gained a yacht? We tackle the yacht tale first. Melissa has agreed to answer the first question, yes, or no. If she answers, yes, that commits her to the same answer, yes, to the question about giving you the yacht. Yes to the same keeps us with, yes. If she answers, no, to the first question, that commits her to not answering the same to the yacht question, hence also making a yes, no, to the same switches us to yes. The offer of yes, or no, answers, appeared to be leaving her with alternatives, but it did not. No, repeated is, no, to, no, that is, yes. Yes repeated, yes, to, yes, also delivers, yes. Of course, maybe saying, yeah, septi cali as a response could leave us baffled as to whether it is a yes, no, but that was not an option, or a how about the £1 million puzzle? She says, either I shall return the £10 or you will pay me £1 million. Suppose what she says is false. For it to be false, just considering what she says, she must not return the £10. But conditions are that she does return the £10, if it is false. Hence, there is a contradiction, whether or not you pay the £1 million. So, what she says cannot be false. Therefore, what she says must be true. But if it is true, then that must be because either she returns the £10 or you pay her the £1 million. It cannot be because she returns the £10. The conditions state that she keeps the £10, if what she says is true in her statement. Hence it can only be true because you pay her the £1 million. So, you are £1 million down. Once again, conditions have been rigged to ensure a yes, an affirmative, a true, to what is wanted. Lurking in many paradoxes are presuppositions deserving challenge. A dangerous presupposition is that having to answer yes, or no, or true, or false, is a fair request. In a classic case, the police ask the suspect, "Have you stopped beating your wife?" Yes or no. Answering yes implies that you indeed used to, although you are now reformed. Answering no implies that you did, and tells us that, bad character that you are, you continue to beat her. The suspect is afforded no opportunity to challenge the presupposition. He is not first asked, "Did you beat your wife?" Then, only if he answers yes, should he be asked, "Do you still?" We should be wary of yes or no demands, of surprising offers however attractive they may seem. A yes or no insistence should make us pretty suspicious, and an offer that sounds too good to be true is, almost certainly, too good to be true. When contemplating matters abstractly, though, that is easy to say, but when confronted by tempting offers down here on earth, well, we can be easily seduced into giving them a clearly affirmative, yes, yes, instead of being rightly skeptical with the, yeah. 32. The card SHARP camel or, your number's up. Encountering a camel, when in the desert, is to be expected, but finding a humped card sharp, sitting at a table outside a Soho club, wearing shades, smoking a cigar, well, we are, to say the least, a little surprised. Here's a little game suited for you too, suited because I can see that you're perfectly rational individuals, able to work things out, unusual for round here, smirks the camel. With that she deals us 2 cards face down, one for my friend Ariadne, one for me, telling us that they are cards from a pack of 100, numbered from 1 to 100. I look at my card, Ariadne at hers, but we cannot see the other's card. Camel adds, with a glint in her eye, the glint sneaking out from behind puffs of cigar smoke, that we cannot tell just by reasoning separately from each other, who has the lower number. Well, with the flattery of rationality seducing us, we each quietly reflect, to see what we can conclude from Camel's comments, I from the card before my very eyes, and Ariadne from hers. Camel is insistent that we should do our very best by way of reason, but quietly and separately. A moment's muse tells me that Ariadne clearly has not found herself with card number 1 after all, she would then know straight away that she has the lower card. Camel would not have dealt her number 1, and indeed I do not have card number 1. To make the setup vivid, I own up to readers, but not to Ariadne, that I find myself with 29. Maybe Ariadne has 63, though, to repeat, I am ignorant of which card she has been dealt. Clearly, in such a case, and there are many more, both Ariadne and I would readily agree that we are unable to figure out who has the lower. I can see my number 29. Moving on from my reasoning that Ariadne cannot have number 1, I reason that Ariadne will also have reasoned that I cannot have number 1, otherwise I would know that I have the lower. So, it seems, we must both know that number 1 is ruled out. Now, if Ariadne has card number 2, then that must be the lower number. We both know, though, courtesy of Camel, that we cannot tell who has the lower, so obviously Ariadne lacks number 2, and she will have ruled out my having 2. And so the reasoning continues, with each of us, separately, silently, ruling out 3 next and then 4 and so forth. By such reasoning, we should rule out our having any numbered cards at all. Yet that cannot be right, we have 2 distinct cards, one of which is the lower numbered. That the reasoning goes wrong will be before my very eyes, when it reaches as far as ruling out 29. Yet, how does the reasoning go wrong? No wonder Camel smiles smugly. Well, for a camel. What goes wrong with the reasoning? We have Camel's clear statement, which we summarize as, see, neither of you can work out who has the lower card. We each have that statement to consider, against the background of our being rational, seeing 1 card each, keeping quiet, no peeking and so forth. Suppose I were to have card number 1, then I would rightly judge that C is false. The evidence of my eyes easily outweighs what I heard from Camel, not because I have better eyesight than hearing, but because there are better explanations for what I heard being wrong than for what I see being an illusion. Now, I do not have card number 1, but how do I know that Ariadne lacks that card? Were Ariadne to have number 1, then that would show to Ariadne, but not to me, that C is false. So, before the paradoxical reasoning can move up the numbers, we both need to recognize that neither of us has number 1. The mutual recognition that neither of us has 1 could be secured by our publicly announcing it or by Camel, flicking through the remaining cards, displaying card number 1. Were 1 to be ruled out in such a way, we should then possess common knowledge, that is, not merely would we mutually know that neither has number 1, but I would also know that Ariadne knows that I know that she knows, and so forth, that we both lack card number 1. Possessing such common knowledge, our reasoning would move to, what if one of us has card number 2? As with card number 1 being ruled out, so card number 2 could be ruled out by public announcements or Camel's display of that card, drawing it from the pack's remaining cards. And so on. If cards, one by one, are gradually ruled out in public, with Ariadne and I recognizing this, then Camel will look more and more irritable through her puffs of smoke, for, at some stage, the, and so on, of the paradoxical reasoning will be blocked. Ariadne or I will be unable to confirm lack of the relevant card. One of us will have it, and will know it to be the lower because all lower numbered cards will have been eliminated. At that stage, Camel's C claim would be shown to be false. This, though, only comes about because of the public displays whereby we both know that the other lower cards are ruled out as held by us. Arguably, the above discussion shows that common knowledge is required for the paradoxical reasoning to be justified in ruling out the cards. So, the paradoxical reasoning goes wrong because it illegitimately assumes such knowledge, when such knowledge is absent. If nothing is said by either of us, we have the possibility that the other has card 1 and that Camel has misled us in saying that neither of us can tell who has the lower card. Suppose, though, that we both truthfully and clearly announce at the beginning, well, I cannot tell who has the lower card. I now know that Ariadne knows that I know, and so on, that Camel spoke the truth and that neither of us can work out who has the lower card. That tells us that we, in common, both rule out our having card number 1, but does it show that we both rule out having cards 2, 3, 4, 5? Neither of us would know how many cards the other would rule out in that way. It is indeterminate, hence, neither of us can be justified in succumbing to the paradoxical reasoning, ruling out cards one by one, on and on. Here, says Camel, we're starting again. See, I've just dealt you a single card, face down, from a pack numbered 1 to 100. It is the lowest card that I can deal in which you cannot work out which one it is, without looking, of course. We wonder at Camel's confidence. We can surely work out some things. Camel would not have dealt us card 1, for that would be the lowest possible card. So, it would not be the lowest card she could deal us, without our knowing it to be the lowest. We guess the lowest must be card number 2 and we start to utter the word, 2, when we hold back. We realize that we should then know that 2 is the lowest. So, 2 is also ruled out. We feel queasy. We see how we could run through all the cards. None seems to satisfy the conditions set. If we reason that a particular card is the lowest one, then that fact rules it out, for we would then know, or so it seems. Camel smiles at the disquiet on our faces. She coolly turns over the card. It is number 1. But we did think of that, we stumble. And sir, you ruled it out. Camel completes our sentence. We realize the moral. The lowest card Camel could deal was card number 1 and we knew that. But we used her claim, that we could not know the lowest card, to rule out 1, and hence it was ruled back in, but if we saw that, then we would be ruling it out again. We ought to have stayed our hand, insisting that it was card 1, showing that Camel had been mistaken in saying that we could not work out the lowest card. Well, we would have shown that, unless she had taken our reasoning into account and had dealt us card 2. But then we might have taken all that also into account. And so it is that some things that we can be told disorientate us by ruling them out, we must rule them back in and then back out, and so on.